There is a rare and genuinely satisfying moment in professional sports media when a stale narrative finally collapses. A moment when the tired, exaggerated critiques pushed by the establishment get surgically taken apart on live television by someone who actually understands how basketball math works. For 3 years now, going back to her Iowa days, critics and certain corners of the WNBA old guard have leaned on one criticism above all others when it comes to Caitlin Clark: her turnovers. They branded her turnover Tammy. They brushed past the record-shattering scoring totals and the gravity-bending assists, fixating instead on her mistakes. But on Sunday afternoon, during a national NBC broadcast, that narrative got completely and methodically taken apart. Welcome back, this is WNBA Pro. Today we are unpacking the significant perspective shift that broadcaster Kate Scott just delivered to the WNBA conversation. We are going to fuse the passion of a fan base exhausted by double standards with a rigorous analytical framework that demonstrates exactly why Caitlin Clark stands as one of the most devastating offensive engines in the sport. We are tackling the turnover myth head-on. We are laying out the undeniable statistics proving Clark is carrying an enormous workload for her franchise. And we are examining the strange irony of a national broadcaster passionately defending Caitlin Clark, while serious questions linger about how the Indiana Fever's own marketing campaigns and internal decisions are affecting ticket sales and fan engagement. If you assumed those empty seats in Indianapolis were simply a scheduling quirk, it is time to dig deeper. Because the consequences of the Indiana Fever's organizational choices are starting to show up clearly in their attendance figures. Let us set the scene with a defining broadcast moment of the young 2026 WNBA season.
Anything to nitpick Caitlin Clark on, and we all know that. So let's take a listen to what she had to say about Caitlin Clark being some sort of turnover machine. Let's get into it.
From the charity stripe tonight, Caitlin Clark has been responsible for 38 of Indiana's 77 points so far.
Yeah, and I feel like that's worth mentioning, LaChina, because...
Okay, now pay attention. She's about to address this turnover situation.
You know, we all read the comments, right? We see that some folks haven't...
The Indiana Fever were executing crisply against the Seattle Storm. Caitlin Clark was delivering an absolute clinic in efficiency. And midway through the third quarter, broadcast analyst LaChina Robinson surfaced a jaw-dropping statistic. Caitlin Clark had been directly responsible for 38 of the Indiana Fever's 77 points at that precise moment of the game. 38 points across just 3 quarters of basketball. Roughly half of everything the Indiana Fever had produced offensively flowed straight through Caitlin Clark's hands, her court vision, and her decision-making. And her broadcast partner Kate Scott seized that exact moment to confront the critics. She spoke with conviction, calling out the commentators, podcasters, and former players who had spent the opening stretch of the season framing Clark's turnover totals as the dominant storyline about her game. Scott said, "You know, we all read the comments, right? We see that some folks have a problem with how much Caitlin turns the ball over. So I looked things up, just comparing to the NBA leaders in assists. Nikola Jokic, about 10 assists a game, 4 turnovers a game. Cade Cunningham, about 9.5 assists per game, 4 turnovers a game. So calm down, everybody. When you're handling the ball all the time, you are going to have some turnovers because she holds the basketball for the majority of the 40 minutes. Welcome to the sport of basketball." Thank you, Kate Scott. At last, a voice in the mainstream media spotlighting elementary basketball mathematics, usage rates, and the basic realities of being a heliocentric offensive superstar.
But the question for you is, you read the comments?
Just when they're about other people.
That's a dangerous place to be.
Why are people... Caitlin's turned the... Yeah, because she holds the basketball for the majority of the 40 minutes. Welcome to the sport of basketball. Okay, I'm off the soapbox now.
All right, Kate Scott, you are a truth.
Tell her girl Kate Scott. Now let us walk through the precise context behind what she is highlighting. Caitlin Clark accumulated 11 turnovers across her opening 2 games of the 2026 season. Against the Dallas Wings in the opener, she had 5. Against the Los Angeles Sparks, she had 6. 11 turnovers in 2 games from a point guard is the kind of bare number that practically writes its own headlines, and those headlines arrived quickly. Critics jumped in immediately, and social media intensified the spotlight. The dominant storyline became that Clark's turnover rate was evidence she was buckling under WNBA pressure, and that a player posting those figures could not steer a serious contender. What most of those takes ignored was the crucial context: what is actually producing those turnovers, and what is being created right alongside them. Kate Scott understands the answer. and she delivered it with factual authority earned by studying the analytics rather than reacting to box scores. Clark's turnovers happen because she is processing extremely advanced decisions at remarkable speed. She is accelerating the tempo of a team that frequently plays slower. She is firing passes through narrow, contested windows that most players would not even consider attempting. She is making split-second reads against elite defenders who used the entire offseason preparing to choke off those exact passing lanes. And when you play basketball at that high-risk, high-reward velocity, errors happen. When those passes get knocked away or fumbled, they appear as turnovers on Caitlin Clark's stat sheet. But when they land, they become defense-shredding assists.
Game of basketball, okay, because all of the high usage rate guards have turnovers, okay? Kate Cunningham, Detroit Pistons, average about 9.5 assists a game. Detroit Pistons rely on him to create everything. He averages about 4 turnovers, okay? The Joker, okay? Multiple times.
You simply cannot get Caitlin Clark's elite assist totals without the turnover figures riding alongside them. They are two faces of the same offensive coin. Consider the NBA comparisons Kate Scott referenced. Think about James Harden during his Houston peak, when he was putting up 35 points and double-digit assists. He turned the ball over constantly. Think about LeBron James or Luka Doncic. When you are the complete engine of a professional offense and your usage rate dictates that you ignite a huge share of your team's half-court possessions, you are going to cough up the basketball. It is the inherent cost of running an elite offense at maximum volume. Caitlin Clark is currently posting 9 assists per game, placing her in the top 3 across the entire WNBA in playmaking. She is generating close to half of her team's offense, and yet the fixation on her turnovers continues. It feels like an obvious double standard applied to a player who is steadily rewriting the record books. Yet while parts of the national media, with Kate Scott leading the charge, are now framing her play correctly, we should examine how matters are being handled inside the organization itself. Because while broadcasters are leaning into the analytical truth, real questions are surfacing about the strategic direction of the Indiana Fever front office. The franchise is wrestling with genuine friction, and recent choices from their marketing department have triggered backlash from the fan base.
Absolute clowns, okay? They are moving like absolute clowns, make no mistake about it. So the Indiana Fever put together, the graphics lately for the Indiana Fever have not been showcasing Caitlin Clark at all. And I 100% believe it is intentional. Okay, so if you look at this graphic here, they have Raven Johnson, okay, and you see this
promotional puzzles. Take a look at some of the promotional graphics the Indiana Fever have been rolling out. And to many fans, the decisions seem baffling. They are hyping up major, highly anticipated matchups, yet choosing to feature role players rather than their marquee star. No disrespect at all to Raven Johnson as a professional, but she is currently a young rotation piece, putting up modest numbers. She played 16 minutes the other night and did not score. And still, the marketing strategy decided to feature her prominently on promotional materials while omitting Caitlin Clark, the player who is leading the WNBA in assists and sitting second overall in scoring. To plenty of observers, this reads as a deliberate organizational stance rather than a random oversight. We have watched them spotlight Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Sophie Cunningham. The organization seems to be deliberately promoting a collective team identity, attempting to offset the enormous individual spotlight Clark commands. But what has been the immediate fallout from this marketing direction and the broader tension surrounding it?
1,000 less tickets per game. Go take a look in the mirror at how you are moving. You guys have now been relegated to using gimmicks to sell tickets. Okay, you're giving away Christmas trinkets, you're giving away holiday cards, and it's not the holidays. You're giving away everything you can to get people to come out, but while being disrespectful toward Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark fans when you know.
Well, peep this. Ticket sales have visibly softened, and a portion of the fan base is voicing their frustration with their wallets. We saw thousands of empty seats inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse during the Seattle Storm matchup, posting lower attendance figures compared with peak games from last season. When fans sense that the star player is not being fully embraced by the team's branding, engagement slips. Many are sending a crystal clear signal. They are following Caitlin Clark first, and if they perceive the environment around her as unsupportive, they simply opt out of attending. To push back against this attendance dip, the Indiana Fever have turned to bigger promotional giveaways and ticket discount campaigns. They are leaning on standard promotional levers like food vouchers and family discount packages to bring crowds back. They are running family nights featuring reduced ticket prices that bundle food and merchandise, and adding off-season holiday-themed promotions. Ticket prices on the secondary market have shifted noticeably, with getting prices sliding sharply for certain matchups.
Now you have turned the fans off so much that now you are relegated to doing these type of events, and you're trying to put Raven Johnson on there. Look, you was giving away family nights, $28 tickets with Cheez-Its, hats, and hot dogs, and you guys have completely ruined the brand because you have been so focused.
The Indiana Fever did not need any of these heavy incentives during her rookie year, when the arena was selling out organically because fans simply wanted to watch her play freely. Now, with visible sideline friction between Clark and the coaching staff, paired with a marketing strategy that keeps redirecting the spotlight away from her, the brand momentum has clearly stalled. The front office is grinding to fill seats while one of the most dynamic young playmakers in basketball is putting up jaw-dropping numbers on the court. Because beneath all the surrounding noise, Caitlin Clark is quietly handling business. The performance she dropped against the Seattle Storm is precisely why Kate Scott felt compelled to speak up for her. Clark did not require heavy minutes to leave a mark. She turned in a remarkably efficient outing in exactly 23 minutes. She poured in 21 points, dished 10 assists, pulled down 7 rebounds, and went a flawless 9 for 9 at the free throw line. She operated with surgical efficiency, breaking down the defense and executing the exact advanced reads critics have punished her for. That ranks as one of the most efficient 23-minute showings in the WNBA all season. Basically a triple-double in roughly half a game. And yet, it underscored why a national broadcast had to step in and provide that context for her numbers to receive proper recognition.
Away and make it about everybody else, such as the whole WNBA has, is absolutely ridiculous. The league and the team refuses to lean into the biggest star the sport has ever seen.
Point blank, period. This is what genuinely insightful sports broadcasting actually sounds like. It is not blind cheerleading. It is about framing raw numbers accurately, so the audience can grasp the complete picture unfolding on the floor. Caitlin Clark's turnovers are real, and they represent a legitimate area for growth. High turnover rates can become costly in high-stakes playoff settings, but the underlying causes of those turnovers tell a far different story than what critics keep pushing. She is not coughing up the ball because she is overwhelmed. She is operating at a dynamic cognitive tempo that demands her teammates and the system catch up to her vision. The Indiana Fever organization is now staring down a critical strategic decision. They can continue with their existing management and marketing direction, absorbing the resulting attendance struggles and growing fan disconnect, or they can fully commit to the reality of their roster and design their system and marketing explicitly around the player generating 38 points in 23 minutes. Kate Scott delivered the analytical context that has been conspicuously absent from this conversation. She put the numbers in their proper frame and handed basketball fans a thoughtful, data-driven moment on a national broadcast. This is WNBA Pro. Subscribe right now if you want analytical, balanced coverage of the game. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Was Kate Scott right to defend Caitlin Clark's turnovers by stacking her against NBA stars like Nikola Jokic? And do you believe the Fever's promotional choices are dragging down ticket sales? Share your basketball takes below. Hit the notification bell to stay locked in as the season develops, and we will catch you in the next video.